Morning, y'all.
Good morning.
Mic check.
You're good.
Cool.
Hey Rick, what do you think of the social media reels that Primerica have out that they just started?
I don't know that I want to voice my comment on a recorded line.
See, I want to talk to the tech guy.
Here's my opinion. What's actually working versus what Primerica is putting out are light years difference.
Yep.
Go look at what PHP and WFG and your other independent advisors are doing compared to the trash. I mean, the marketing that we put out. I'm sorry, but it's stealth marketing 101. Ian talked about this on the live that he did on Wednesday night in the Social Media Millions boot camp. You need to market to people without them knowing they're being marketed to. And nobody wants to see some huge blanket disclosure of Primerica.
At the end,
this is why the LFIC videos work so well, is because there's a white label version where you can share the Primerica concepts without it saying Primerica. So, and because God bless Primerica, they've done a great job as of recent within the past couple of years of doing the RVP reputation program with Google, but that's not enough. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot more I could say, but God bless them. I'm glad that they're responsive to the field, but I still don't think it's going to be enough. This is why personal branding and personal marketing is even more important, especially is a rep, because they're doing business with you. They're not doing business with Primerica. They're doing business with Primerica as a byproduct of doing business with you. So, but I'll let Ian talk on that stuff if you want to talk.
No, but that's what I needed to hear. That's huge. I appreciate it.
What's up, everybody? Happy Monday. Happy Monday. It's Month End Madness. I hope you guys are ready to throw on the afterburners and get to work aggressively the next few days. I hope that you are in your minds and in the hearts of your people. I hope you're waking them up and putting them to sleep. I hope you're challenging them to think bigger and play bigger than they have played so far this month. So much of building a Primerica business is about manufacturing and maintaining momentum. Okay. Momentum makes good teams great and bad teams okay. So momentum is the name of your game, right? It's also one of the things that most leaders in Primerica struggle with because they just don't pay attention to it and they don't have processes that they can repeatedly use to generate that momentum. Okay, so if you had to rate your team's momentum right now, and I would look at it in three factors. Number one is their activity level. Okay, that is the most directly measurable factor of momentum. What is their activity level? Okay, their attitude and demeanor, and their engagement level. Okay, so attitude and demeanor is like, what is the overall feeling that exists in your base shop right now or in your hierarchy? Is it positive? Is it excited? Is it growth focused? Is it numbers focused? Is it record focused? Or is it like, you know, woe is me and nothing's happening right now. My momentum sucks. And I got 3 chargebacks, blah, 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 right? Okay. And then engagement is just a measure of like, how actively are your people responding to your telegrams or your group me's? How is your meeting attendance? You want to measure your momentum in all 3 of those factors. Okay. One of them is very objective. The other 2 are more subjective. But you can tell, right? Like, you know, when your people are like dead in the water, you know, when they're pumped up and excited. There's a feeling you get. What is the level of momentum that you have right now? Okay. 10 being we're breaking records right and left. I have all sorts of people winning. Our attendance is up. Our activity is up. People's attitudes are up. Everything is good. We've got a lot of momentum, right? 5 being, we're growing. We have some people that are doing well. We have some people that are paying attention to month end. I'm paying attention to month end as a leader. And then less than 5 would be, none of those things are really happening in any marked way. Okay. So type in the chat right now your score. Let's rate it 1 through 10, 10 being perfect, 1 being terrible. What would you rate your overall momentum right now coming into month end? Okay. So Dan says 8.75. Tyler said 8. Jeremy's a 5. Mario's 3. Jane is 4. Bill is a 5. All right. We should have 1 or 2 more, I think there. Alyssa is a 1. Alyssa, I know you're just listening in today. Alyssa's mom's in the hospital. Everybody say a prayer for her and her family today. Thanks for being on, Alyssa. I know you got stuff going on, but you're on anyways, which is, hey, you got to show up, right? That's 50% of winning. So Dan, I'm going to call on you for a second. Talk to me about what that momentum looks like and what you're doing right now to maintain that level of momentum that you feel like is, upwards of 8.5.
Yeah. So we started off the month just talking about like recruiting only. That's the only thing we talked about. It's all we've been talking about. We've smoked our base shop recruiting record. So at like 111 right now, our record's 105. We'll finish around 150. And then just kind of keeping the focus on recruiting in front of everybody, but then doing little things here and there to like move the lever of setting more kitchen tables. So Saturday morning, we did a kitchen table only appointment setting contest because we had over 200 recruit appointments on the calendar already. And then in an hour, our team set 68 KTs. However many of those are inflated and not real, we'll find out this week. But
the doc flipping.
Right, but they set a ton, and then we're running that another contest tomorrow for KTs to kind of come up with premium for month end. But we're talking about recruiting and meeting attendance. That's the 2 main things. Meeting attendance. We had 73 on our team training last night, which is a record by a mile for our team.
Nice.
And we should be at our goal is 200 in the next 2 months. Having 200 on our team trainings, and I think that we'll be able to do that. So right now, just kind of talking to our teams, like my, regionals and districts about, get your team bought into like being the biggest team on the meeting. And so they're all doing little like emojis or whatever next to their team names to like get people on so they can see who's got the most people on and make hurricane warning.
The emergency warning.
Yeah.
We're already getting a little bit of storm surge here.
Are you?
Water's coming up almost into my backyard right now. It's super
Wow.
cold, but it's high.
Wow, that's crazy. We're not in a flood zone, so we haven't been told to evacuate yet, but I'm sure we will.
I didn't evacuate nothing. They got me that last time, man. They were scaring us, telling us they were going to put the bridges up, shut off the power. Dude, my power stayed on the whole time. Them suckers didn't put it up. I'm like, look, I ain't going nowhere. Y'all got me once. You ain't going to get me.
But yeah, so that's, really what we're talking about right now is just like recruiting and then our meeting attendance in the little pockets of people. And what that's doing is so at the beginning of the month, we had our average, we were sitting right around 45, 46 on a 3 meeting average for our base shop. And so now we're sitting a little bit above 60 in a month, which it should be higher than that, but it's growth, and I'll take growth over like being stressed about.
Talk to me about the small teams and the emojis, and what are you doing there? What's driving that attendance?
Yeah, so like it's 100% a pride thing. Like I'm by no means saying you get a gift card or you get this or you get that, but like for instance, we did our full timers meeting, just got done about 30 minutes ago, and the whole time I'm talking to Bill, I'm like, Bill, you can't let Jeremy beat your meeting attendance. Like, what's your all-time meeting? And I'm just putting them against each other the whole time. And so like they're all committed to getting 25 on the meetings by the end of next month. And we have a bunch of pockets of people doing like 10. And so if I drive, the way I look at it is like the biggest lever that I can pull is getting these guys, getting their people on meetings is much more efficient than me calling everybody and getting them all on meetings. And so I just tactfully like showed them how Andy told me to get people on meetings. Go into Recruit Tracker, print it off, call them every Tuesday and every Friday for meetings until you have 25 showing up. And so we just made it a pride thing. Who's going to have the biggest team? Like, and I told him, I was like, you're not getting anything special other than knowing that you beat everybody else.
Okay. And so what are you doing in terms of the like intangibles, in terms of like contacting your people? What does that rhythm look like? Like, what are you posting regularly in your Telegram? How much contact are you having with your top people?
Constant, like literally all day long, every day.
What does that look like?
So in the morning, I post up like what our incentives are for the month, like I basically just do what you used to have us do, or what you used to do. So in the mornings, I'll post our incentives. Our team posts in our results Telegram every time there's a closed piece of business, and literally anything. I don't care if it's a COD or a home and auto referral, like senior health, it literally doesn't matter. Whatever they close, they put in Telegram. And then in our base shop chats, I am now teaching my leaders how to kind of run that, so that way they're a little bit more engaged. So I don't have to like be the only one in there doing stuff all the time. But it's like, I mean, if it goes 45 minutes without a message, like how many appointments have you set today? What's your record? What's your goal? Just something to get people to start chatting in there again.
So Dan, thanks for answering some of those questions. And ultimately what I was trying to pull out there from you was some of the intangibles about leading through momentum, right? So like every morning I would get up and I would post out whatever incentives were going on right now, or whatever campaign we were working towards, whatever big vision we had, I would post something out about that. Why? Because out of sight is out of what?
Mine.
Out of mind. Out of mind is out of the wallet. If they're not thinking about it, they ain't going to do it. Jeremy, you got to, I see you there. Give me a quick second.
Yeah, so just give me a couple examples, you know, like campaigns or incentives, that kind of thing.
So like Dan right now is working on 150 recruits. So more than likely, I would imagine he's posting out, you know, hey, 111 of 150, 39 more to go. Who's putting the next one on the board? Who's going to be the first IBA on the scoreboard today? Who's going over double digits today? Who's breaking their record today? Which teams are going over 20? Dan, I might be wrong, but if I were you and I was running that, that's what I would be posting out.
The only thing that you said that I haven't been doing is tracking the total number, because our team, like, they're doing that for me. But like, it's just kind of something that they're watching my scores now to make sure that we're catching up to people and that we're getting over. But in the beginning, I just posted in the beginning of the month for like 3 weeks. I was like, I guess more last month than this month, but I was like the only one posting in Telegram. And I was like, why am I doing this?
That's how you
now,
get started, right?
Yeah.
Because what happens is listen, advertisers know, Jeremy, that they need to market to you between 8 and 20 times before you have any chance of taking action at all. And so that's what you are. You're a marketer, and you're marketing to your people. Your people are your client, right? And you're marketing and marketing and marketing and marketing. It's just like all these morons with the crap that, you know, they did the last 3-4 years on everybody, right? You play that bull crap on every TV, radio in the world, and all of a sudden it doesn't seem so strange that you're seeing grandma through a plexiglass wall, right? Like, it's, you know, no problem, because it was just a full-scale assault. And even though it was complete and total nonsense and didn't make any sense, the vast majority of people went along with it. Well, that's what you're doing. You're creating a marketing machine where your people go along with what you're talking about, right? So, Dan, let me give you a couple of things here, and y'all need to listen, right? Because this is good. We're having a master class right now in momentum. This is the stuff you're never going to find an audio on this. It doesn't exist anywhere, right? But this is the stuff where you can start really surging. So Dan, one of the things I would do if I were you, I'd make like little infographics throughout the day, right? So like today, when you get to 120, like 30 left, 25 left, 20 left. Just go make a bunch of them, like in 10 minutes, like all the way through. In like 5s. And then as soon as you guys get there, you throw that graphic out. You throw that graphic out. You throw And you don't even need to say stuff. People, they lock into that countdown. And what happens is the closer you get, the more belief begins to build from all levels of the organization. And then you're talking to them about, guys, look, you got to be part of this. For every one of you that hadn't put an IBA on the scoreboard right now, we're about to make history. We're about to break this record. We're about to do what nobody thought we could do. Look, just go get one. Just be a part of this, right? Just get in the momentum. Start a chain reaction, right? And all of a sudden, not only do more people believe in, are more people working, but then you're going to start getting all these onesie twosies in from people who just don't want to miss it because you're creating such FOMO about being a part of it. That makes sense? So then you overshoot, right? And you end up at 160, 170, something like that. And then what you do, Dan, is you find an enemy, and because there are probably only 2, 3, 4 people ahead of you at 150, right? How many people are going to beat you this month?
Yeah, we're like, last I looked, I didn't look today, but yesterday we were number 13.
Okay. So how many people are going to end up though over 150 recruits in their base? Probably less than 10. Find the biggest name one you can that's within striking distance, and you rally them to beat them next month in that, right? And so now they have a face to the cause, and you go back 2, 3 months, dude, you be competing with Andy, right? You want to talk about crazy? You and him competing against each other, and that your people will go bonkers.
Yeah,
So,
we're already, and we're talking about that. Like, hey, 3 months from now, we're gonna be taking Andy out. Like and we're like, I'm talking to my leaders about that because they know him. And it's kind of like a little chip on the shoulder, to be honest.
So again, this goes, and I was just going to ask you about that. So your communication with your people. So you're posting all the time in Telegram, and you're managing your momentum. I would do that all the time as well. If there was an hour that went by that nobody closed something, I'm popping out there, I'm motivating them, I'm challenging them, right? I'm talking about how big it's, I want the notification coming across their phone every 10, 20 minutes. Somebody closing. Why? Because Jane, when they see somebody closing, they see enough people doing that, pretty soon they start to think of all these people can do this business. I can do this business. And I'm creating belief through that momentum, right? So talk to me about your rhythm in communicating with your top leaders, like not through Telegram, like direct text, phone call, what's that look like?
There's no real like rhyme or reason, to be honest, which probably isn't the answer you're looking for, but to be like, I'm
not looking for an answer.
Right.
I want to know what you're doing.
Yeah. So every time somebody closes, I will call, like, I shouldn't say every time, most times somebody closes up, where did it come from? Who did it? Is it they're like, just kind of figure out some information about the appointment. And almost always that's where that conversation stops, like just a quick check-in. If I can, if I'm running appointments, then obviously I'll send them a text. I usually send the eyeball emojis anytime I get a biz blast to whoever it came through. So like, and I get to the point now, Tyler, that people are literally messaging me the eyeball emojis when they close because they know it's coming. And so that's cool because then they know I'm paying. And Andy used to do that to me. So like, I'm just taking what he did with me. And then so we have like a field trainer.
So you're letting them know, I see you.
Yes.
Right. Okay. This is great. And I would do this all the time too, right? Is especially with newer people or people that don't do stuff a lot. Like, look, when you see somebody do something good, you want to shower them with praise immediately, right? Like the shorter duration there is between I did something good and I'm getting praise, the more likely they are to repeat that. So go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, so I would say that's the biggest thing with like the new people. And like one thing we did last night on our team call, so like Mario jumped on and talked for like 15 minutes, and then after that I didn't know how long he was going to talk for, so I didn't have anything planned, but our call is usually 45 minutes. But what I did was I went around to all the leaders and gave them 5 minutes of like unscripted, like I asked them a question, and then I picked on like some of the new people that closed business. Then they were like, you could tell they were so nervous. We had like 70 people on the call. They were like freaking out, like, oh my gosh, I have to talk. One person texted me and said, please don't make me talk.
And then They went next, right?
Yeah, but it's little, no, they did talk though by the end of the meeting, but it's, you know, it's just little things that like make them feel like they're just part of more than their own little 2x2 team. That really gets them to buy in. And so like I've got a lot of people that could be like they have the capacity to go 10-10, I think, but they're not. They're 20x2 and 3. And so it's just walking them, calling them every day. Where are you at? What's your recruits? How many KTs do you have? Talking to the leaders about the KTs because everyone else knows that we're recruiting and they all know how to recruit. And so I'm not worried about talking to them about getting 150 recruits because they're going to get, like, we have 4 people in our base shop over 20 recruits this month. And so they don't have that much. Like I have 22,000 in premium and we have 32,000 in premium. So like the premium is the missing piece. So just talking to them about, okay, did you do this? And we also 22 pending CODs, so pray for me. But but outside of that, you know, like just talking to them like about how to get their new people off to a fast start, how to ask the conversation, the client experience appointment. Becca Steele told me that at the Diplomat. She's like, it's not your own KT, it's a client experience appointment. And so we started implementing that, which has been super helpful. And just some little tweaks that we're making because honestly, like this, we did this in July of 2021 when we first started, and we've never been close to this number in recruits since then. And so it's just like putting mechanisms in place to make sure that this month is the smallest month in recruits we ever have for the rest of our base shop. Like that it just keeps getting bigger and it keeps growing, and putting that foundation in place for these guys of like how to keep this momentum going with the new people, or sorry, with the leaders.
So Dan, I've got a couple more questions for you, then I'm going to pop over to Tyler. So Tyler, get ready because you self-proclaimed as an 8. And so I want to hear from you as well. So Dan, when we started working together in January, what did you do the month before in your base shop?
Not good, like 12 or 13 by, no, I did 10 or 12,000 in premium. It was like maybe 20 by 15 at the most.
Okay. So you've gone from 20 recruits to this month, you'll be at 150 recruits. You really had no momentum of any sort. Your income was down, right? Yep. And then, you know, we just started working on your mindset a little bit, and you're a killer, dude. Like, you've known that you had done big things before, but you weren't doing big things then.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you attribute that to looking back? And what would you say are the top 3 changes that you've made in the last 9 months that are putting you here, which is rare air? Triple digit anything in the base shop is rare air in Primerica. You're no matter, like right now, you're in a season where people are still they're a 200 by 200 base. There's 1 or 2 or 3 of those all the time. When I was coming up, 80 grand was like the biggest base shops that there were, right? But triple digit, no matter what phase of the company's in, is always going to be, you're going to be in the top 10 there.
Yeah.
So what was causing that? I did big things before. I sort of found myself in this lull, and then top 3 things that helped you get out of that.
So the best way to explain is kind of like there was like 3 phases that I've been through since we've been working together that I can kind of like identify the mindset change. So like for me, the first one was like I had to go and make money because like we were behind literally again and everywhere financially, because we just like one of the things that I was taught to do, which I've since learned is probably not a great idea, was to like massively increase my expenses. So I had to work harder, and all that did was stress me the hell out, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. And so I, instead of worked, stopped, like, which was not what I should have done, but lesson learned. So January, February, and March was like, just, I had to increase my income so I could believe in Primerica again, because to be honest, like November, December, I almost quit. Like I was like almost over it. Like I was going to go I was going to go just sales somewhere else. Like I was just frustrated. And then so in March, we made 13 grand. And I was like, okay, like we're almost at pacing for 200. And so it kind of became a real thing for me. Like, hey, we could make 200 grand this year. And so we went from focusing on just me making money, I didn't really care where it came from, to like now taking the few people that we had and driving through them to establish a couple new like legs that were new people. And so we did that. And then when I did that, a few of my older people quit, which then left me a few of their new people that I started working with. And those are my two of my top base shops right now. Came from old people that quit. Actually, they recruited them in like March, April, like when I was focusing on me, and they recruited them into an environment where I was winning. And then they dropped off and they both rolled up to me, and they were like so fired up to work with me because like I was their coach now. And so that got me excited because now I had people to work with that wanted to work with me. And so then I focused on helping them make money. So each of them have made $2,000 a month or more since that day, like since March. And then now, like right now, it's focusing on like, we promoted an RVP, granted not very big, but we promoted an RVP nonetheless. And now like other people believe that that's possible for them. And so now it's like really establishing like, okay, this is what you got to do this month, and like putting that plan in place. And now we have people that are believing that they're going to get, you know, we're talking about them getting a ring by convention, them getting promoted, like all, and like I've got people calling me like, help me do this. Like they want to be coached and they believe that we can do it. And I'll tell you, like, we would not be here right now if I didn't just get my ass to work in January and February.
Yeah. I'm going to draw something for you guys. This is the framework for a big base. Okay. And so Dan just talked to you about it. Step one is you go beast mode, right? And you get your income up and you get your belief up by yourself. Dan, you made a decision that you were going to go make money. And to do that, you were going to take your activity to your sweet spot and beyond, because you had to. You had to make money. You didn't want to give up on your dream, right? Okay. What happens there is that parlays into new people. New people come in because that is a byproduct of the work you're doing, right? Even if you're just out there slinging life insurance, you're going to recruit some of those people, but they come in underneath a leader who is of a different mindset than they were 3 months earlier, because they're making money and they're working, and they, when you're working, Dan, you remember what you love about the business, right? You see the difference that you're making. You feel the excitement. It's like being new again, right? When you're really out there hustling, and you know that you're paying the price. So subconsciously you get in alignment, right? You know, like, man, I'm working right now. I deserve this. I deserve to win right now. So you get new people who come into a different environment, right? What happens with those new people is they start to emulate the leader, and a momentum cycle begins, right? A momentum cycle begins because they're coming in, they're seeing the leader making money, they're seeing the leader push. They like that. They like the feeling of being on a winning team, of doing something big, right? What happens now is then the leader's belief rises and some focus shifts to building the team. Okay. Step 5 is team belief sets in. Now everybody starts to believe, right, that something big is going on. They feel the momentum. They see the success. They're watching the leader's cash flow. They're watching the leader's boards. They're seeing that they're a part of something. Okay. And then the momentum flywheel takes over. Okay. This is the framework. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It always works in this way. You will never work this in any other way. Okay. And some of you, your goal is to like start here, right? And just have some people like doing what you think they should be doing. And you want to skip step 1 and 2. The problem is, even if you do that, this guy ends up not respecting you at all and ends up becoming a challenge for you down the road because they're your entire business. Y'all understand that? Okay. So here's the $1 million question. Tyler, I might not get to you today, but I want to hear from you. Okay. But here's the $1 million question. What step are you in on the building a big base shop framework? Most of you are at step uno. You're at step uno because you have not yet committed to become the master copy that creates the momentum, right? So Dan, you didn't go to 30 on your docs, right? Where did you go?
Sorry, Axel started being loud. I was up around probably 50 by myself for a couple weeks and then ended up being at about 60 with a couple people I was training.
And how long did it take you to get those first couple people to train being at 50?
Not long, a week, maybe 2.
See, guys, look, there's a method to this madness. You're like, oh, it's some of you like Wicked Witch, and it's like appointments are like water. You're like, I'm melting. No, you're not melting, you're getting rich. That's what you're doing. You're getting rich, right? You can't be afraid of that big activity, because out of that big activity, there comes a couple of people that get birthed out of that surge. And then if you just utilize those resources correctly, Dan, look, by the end of this year, and it's a big if, right? Because here's what you know, you can run the first part of this play pretty darn well. The second part of the play is continuing to develop your thinking and your leadership and your communication abilities as a leader to account for the growth that is happening, right? A lot of guys get stuck because they don't transition their thinking and their processes to a bigger organization. What worked going from 0 to 100 people is not necessarily the same things you do going from 100 to 300 people coming to meetings, right? So if you will keep your head down and stay personally active like you are and staying involved in those intangibles, I really do believe you could be at a 300 by $150,000, $200,000 base shop by the end of the year, and you'd be making 60 or 70 G's a month off a base shop and having a plethora of people coming up to go RVP, right? And that's where making sure that your leadership and the culture that you're building and the standards that you set and how you police and enforce those becomes really, really important, right? Because as you start promoting, people want to do their own thing. They want to disconnect over here. They want to run this play, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden you got chaos on your hand. That's the next thing we got to work on. But I want y'all to see, guys, listen, it's been 9 months. It don't even take everybody's fingers on both hands, right? To go from, hey, I might quit and just go sell something. I have 150 recruits a month happening in my base. Okay. So Dan, thank you so much for your example there and letting me pick on you a little bit. Hopefully you guys got some value out of this, right? Like what I wanted to do is pull out some of those intangibles that we don't think about sometimes, so we could put together a framework that says, hey, this is how this looks. Where am I here? And what do I need to do right dadgum now? Okay. So guys, listen, what do you need to do right dadgum now? And Bill, I know we're a little over, but you need to hear this. Okay. What do you need to do? Okay. You need to go into freak mode for the next 3 or 4 days. Personally, on your docs, you have where you are, and then you have sweet spot, and then you have so high, I can't help but make it rain. That's where you need to be playing these next few days, right? There's so much activity. You can't help yourself. It's just going to be raining recruits on you and raining premium. And that's what you do to start that surge of momentum, right? So, hey, guys, listen, what I want you to do is I want you to post out your commitment by tomorrow night, midnight. Where can you take your docs? Personally, by tomorrow night, midnight. How high can you get those things? And don't worry about what somebody else says. What I want from you is what is the absolute very best that you are capable of. Right? If your family was on the line, if everything you loved was on the line and you had to go to work and you could only get them free by being at X, where is X? It's going to be different for all of you. So I'm talking about tomorrow night for the rolling 7 days. How high can you drive those docs, Jeremy? Right? How high can you get them? And then we are one track minded, you all. for the next 48 hours. Is take them docs so high, it's unbelievable. You shock yourself. You like, I didn't even know that was in me. And guess what? Your people didn't either. But when they see it, guess what happens to them? Like, dang, my coach is a beast. My coach is a stud. Look at them going. Holy smokes. Look at all the premium they're doing. Look at all the recruiting. Look at them coming across. That's how we start. All right, guys. Talk to you soon. See ya.